Hello. First, I would like to thank you for your time and your willingness to contribute to our project. My name is Jana Sasakamoose, and my Cree name is Kihiwa. That's Eagle Woman in Cree. I am from Atakakoop First Nation, and I obtained my bachelor's degree at the First Nations University of Canada. I am registered for my Master of Science degree, major in interdisciplinary studies, and it concentrates on 3 subjects. And I'm doing it at the University of Regina. Dr. Arzu is from the First Nations University of Canada, and Dr. Andre is from the University of Regina. We are writing a textbook for Introductory to Statistics course of universities. The textbooks will be publicly available on the internet for free of charge. I am helping them develop Indigenous content for this textbook. One of the chapters of this textbook is about probability. Probability is a branch of mathematics concerning estimation of chances of an event to happen. I know that there exists Indigenous games relating to chances, such as hiding and guessing a stick dice, stick flipping, throwing stones. Can you tell us about these types of games after you introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Mahika Nawas, and I have some knowledge of the hand games. The hand games was about, it's the same thing as gambling back in the days. And it was to keep themselves occupied in what they used to do after when they come home from hunting or whatever games they do out there. They used to come home and they created that hand games to keep themselves busy to pass the day when, like, I guess they were bored in some way. And so they create the hand games, competing each opponent who can get more points from their own opponents, who they like friends created that for themselves so they can gain some how to play the hand games. I know I'm kind of lost in words because most times I speak in Cree, like tansuewa iki sika chiki chik tansigi snagachista chik kai semuniuto chik msika chikiun. Anuchiga bitusiga ti tawak mihtawiun na hohe. Tansueo kaya igisimihtawi chik. Iginagachista chik kaya skiwe kitai sinimnawak nanan skuche ustawauki kwe iki akamita kik tansueo isnutimitawi chik. Otoasimso iketiksnamoa chik kikwe ksise. Msika chikiun aya yagumananista ya kaki piksnamago and tansami simitawi kakwik kichinahu in tantana kichina chiganoita mstikama igwe goma niguta icha kasta chik mstikwa ta taung gutta gau tahu chiki gunigi yutna kan mstikwa. So I'm gonna sometimes when I'm trying to speak in English, I have a hard time translating it because if I speak it in Cree, it helps me a little better to speak it in English. So the hand game was a guessing game for them to gain on what they were gambling. It could be horses, hides, or food stuff like that. And there was also other games like that. Chakakwanak is a stick game, almost similar to hand games, but it was different. They use you know, those old wagons, they use those spokes, they carve them up, at, they arch them, and they would burn marks on the X, making an X on the stick games. And one side is burnt mark, and the other side is blank. And they used to play that on the moose hide, or buffalo hide, and they would gamble. They would gamble the sticks. If the sticks with the marks on comes out flat, showing, that means you collect points. But if it's backwards with no markings, you lose points. And they used to trade with other buckskins or pemminik, they would call it, for traveling, because they used to travel far, and sometimes they'll stop by in campgrounds, and they would occupy themselves by playing these games. I was talking to an elder recently here, and there was another game that was similar to hand games, but here they don't sing, but they move around to try to distract the opponent so they would not know which side the stick is. If it's on the left side or on the right side, they would either point like this or go like that. There were so many techniques they used back in those days to keep themselves occupied. In autumn, when hunting season is beginning, that's when they start playing these games. And I don't know how to really say it in English, because my English is not very that good of saying certain words. But when I speak Cree to my elders, we talk fluently in Cree. And I do keep records of talking to them, and I give them some tobacco if it's okay for me to record them. So I do the recordings of the history and how these games began to be as what they are now. So a lot of them have different stories of each elder that I talked to, and each elder that I played with the games, the stick games and the hand games, and the hiding games. There's other games that are named different, and these are the only three that I know, and the only game that seemed to be in existence is the hand games, because they don't play that Chakakwanak no more. I don't know how to say that in English, but that's the stick games. You have 12 sticks, and you have 6 on your side, and they have 6 on their side, and you hold the sticks together and you drop them on the buffalo hide, and whatever marks you get, you collect those points to get the other sticks from your opponent. And that was the women's games back then. The hand games were for the male players, because the hand games, they play songs, and Chakakwanak, there's no songs, only straight competition, and that helps them sharpen the mind of seeing and understanding how it's played out. And when you're out there in the real world, you seem to know what you're up against. It helps the mind on those games. Same with the hand games. It's a modern day thing, like when people go play slots in casinos. It's similar like that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes in hand games, they use medicine, so to trick the opponent. So a lot of that has been played out for centuries of the hand games.
Mhm.
And across Turtle Island, they play all sorts of games. Each tribe has their own unique ways of playing these games they played. I don't know if that's a good start of saying.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like so I want to talk more about the buffalo. And that was the women's game, right?
The stick games, yeah.
Yeah. So then with the buffalo, they would have their buffalo laid out, and then they would have these sticks that would be burnt marks on one side and blank on the other side.
Mhm.
So the blank ones you lose points, and then the burnt mark sides would have you get points.
Yes.
And then are there like different designs for the burnt marks, or it's just anything that they put on those sticks?
Not really. It's like an X and a line underneath. And then on the tip and on the bottom, there's 2 lines or 3 lines, depending on when you get one stick, you get 6 points. And if you get more than, say, if you drop 6 sticks and you get all of them, then you beat your opponent, and they have to try to gain to get those sticks back. So it's kind of like a tug of war on both sides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in the end of the game is when all of them, so when they get all of the 12 sticks and they drop them, and if they all fall on face up with marks, then that's when you really defeated
all?
your opponent.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
So this was the woman that invented this back in the wagon days, cowboys and Indian days, and those wagon wheels. That's where they use those spokes, and they carve them out, and they flatten them, and they put marks on them, and they would play on the buffalo hide. And
then
go ahead.
what about the other game with I think it was the hand games that you said were the men's men's games, because the songs, right?
Yeah.
What kind of signs was it again? You said it was like this and then that.
Like they go point like this, or like this, or they go like this. So nowadays there's a lot of signs, hand sign signals they do when they play the hand games. And that's when the men in the front are the ones that are sitting on the buffalo hide, and they take the buffalo bone or whatever bear bones, and they used to burn them, and that's where they mark those bones as their designs. And whatever their background or family background, they mark those as their coming from which family or tribe. They did all kinds of things their own ways, their own designs, their own logos, and that's how they were recognized back in those days, and how much it evolved through the time. And to this day it's different. So now women play in the hand games, in the man's game. So the reason why some of them use women is because it could be the beauty of the woman to distract the man's mind from the opponent, right? So that's when it went heavy, and then they bring in more women, and they allow the woman to hit the drum. And they're singing in the background, and there's these ones that sit on the floor. Every time gain a stick, they put it on their by their sides till they get all of them, and that's how they win the game. And others will join in. Once the ones that are defeated, then the other ones will come in.
Yeah.
It goes on for days. It goes on for days. Sometimes 100 people play, defeating, gambling. Sometimes they used to trade for horses, in those days. Because it was rough back in those days, not like today. We're so modernized. We forget the old ways, how they managed to travel and get things done.
Yeah.
So most of the elders that taught me have passed on. So, and the ones that I still play with on hand games, they're still they go win the international games. And now I can contact them because they're always busy keeping an eye on their horses, doing whatever they do best.
And
That's
do you know
about
anything about Indian relay races?
Indian relay race was created back in about 150 years ago by the let's see, by where Geronimo lives, right down that site. The Dene or Hopis, they created that game for speed, agility, and how strong the person was. And it's like that Fast and the Furious. If you lose the race, you lose your car. That's the same concept how they used to do it. So over time, it came up to the Lakotas, Sioux Indians, and they mastered it so well, and that's how they gained more horses by stealing other horses, because they have the fastest horse, or who has the fastest horses, as many horses they get. If the family like how strong and how good the young people were, so they would trade with their daughters for those horses. And the different tribes used to trade. So the reason why they used to trade is because they can understand each language from different tribes. That was one of the like a negotiation. So over time, nowadays, relay races are about bragging who has the fastest. Over here now, it's bragging rights. Who has the fastest horse? Who can do better by switching other horses? And who has the fastest horses in the teams?
How do you play them? Because I know before they used to start on the hills, right?
Yeah.
They used to be starting on top of the hill or going up a hill or something like that with the horses. And then now it's like in a circle, right, at the racetrack. So
Yeah,
what's
that's
the point
bragging.
of the game? How do you play it, and how do you know who wins and loses and stuff?
Well, there's teams of them. The young people have their own teams, and whoever has the fastest horse, or who moves the fastest from jumping off a horse and jumping to another horse, and whoever wins at the end gets the prize, or the bragging rights.
These horses are bareback, right?
Yes, and that's how we used to play when we were young. Being around horses all the time, we were taught how to understand the horses and how fast. You'll understand first you had to understand the horses and which one is the smartest and which one is the fastest. So sometimes people will take the fastest one. That's where they lose out. They don't want to take the smart horse, because the smart horse can beat the fastest horse, and that's how we used to win.
Mhm. And how
And
many horses would they have to jump off and jump on to?
depending on how many good horses they had, could be 5, 4, because they have to make their horse rest, so they had to jump on another one, and about 5 or 4, depending on how
How
many
many team
people.
members?
Yeah, depending on how many team members want to participate in the relay race.
Yeah.
And it's a fun game. Also, it's dangerous because you have to be quick to jump off and switch to another horse. And
Mhm.
you have to have strong feet in order to do that.
Mhm.
So that's how far I know about relay horses.
How many teams do you think would be there? Like 5 to 10 teams, or would it be?
Depending on who has the fastest horses,
And who's all
or
participating and
yeah,
around?
yeah. If they say maybe 10 would compete one another, and how much time they finish to get to the finish line. It's all about timing and relay horses. I don't know how I can't. My English is starting to go.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
What else?
Um, let's see. I think. What are the hide games you were talking about?
The hide game was about there's no singing, no drumming. It's basically like a hand games, but different. You don't sing, you just try to move around and try to distract your opponent so they won't figure out which side you have that stick.
Mhm.
It's an old game, and there was other games as well they used to play, like that hoop, and they threw it, how many arrows they or spears they throw in that hoop while they throw the hoop and it goes rolling. And some of them opponents will throw spears at them through the hoop without 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 making that hoop stop. You just have to make those spears go through without. If you hit the hoop and it falls down, that's when you lose out on the game. And that's where they
Okay, so
used to
is it
work.
like one of those like ring things?
Yeah, yeah,
So it'd be like I know this is probably like the wrong thing, but you know, like one of those wheel tires.
yeah,
Just get away, take those inside things out. And
yeah,
it's like rolling that big thing, and they'd have to shoot their arrows in there
yeah,
while it's moving.
yeah. And they don't have to, because you got to keep that hoop rolling, and
Yeah.
you have to get your arrows through there without stopping the hoop.
And then get in as many as you can.
Yeah.
And would it be one person shooting into that thing, or would there be multiple people on your team trying?
Depending if there's like, it's like a soccer game.
Mhm.
There's about like 5 of them, and you got to try to get as many hoops. And there's one that's looking out, and he collects your points, how many you get
And
in
he's
there.
keeping track.
Yeah. And you got to keep that hoop rolling until it stops. Then from where it stops, you throw it back to the other side, and you got to keep going. It's as many arrow you can get through there without making that hoop stop.
Mhm. Is there any like seasonal games that would be played at certain times of the year and stuff like that?
I'm trying to think of some other ones there. There's that racing. See how far they would make it. I can't remember that one. There's there's the relay horse and there's the running race. The running race is different. I can't remember that one, but whoever is the strongest and the fastest. But it's usually the intelligent ones that beat the fastest people. That's how they used to win the games.
So with the buffalo, the one when you're dropping the sticks, would they play that all year round?
Yes.
And then for the hand games with the hand songs, the men's songs, would that be played year round as well? Or just when they have like powwows and stuff?
They can have it in any powwows, and because there's a lot of people across this Turtle Island that know how to play it. I met a lot of people over the times, but I never participate in a competition. But only in after when it's like in winter times, they practice those through the winter, and then when the summer comes, they get ready to play.
And then that's when they play.
Yeah, that's when they really play.
Okay.
And you have to have a strong mind in order to play the hand games. If they know you have a weak mind, they'll defeat you automatically every time. So you have to have a sharp mind in order to play these games. And you got to think fast. That's how they play them.
Do they organize tournaments like for the buffalo, the hand games, and the relay races?
Yeah, they do. They do have them every summer or springtime. It's almost like, but nowadays it's a competition. So there's a certain time of the year they put it on, and that's when they play these relay races, hand games. And the more money they say, like if they finish 1 year and they start collecting money for the next year, and that's when the competition is really in for the money. So nowadays it's a bragging rights for the relay horsing. Yeah, nowadays it's relay.
Can anybody play these games, like, or only First Nations people?
Sometimes they let their other friends join in if they're strong, they have the strength to do it. They get them in there if they so choose to.
So it's just like who's willing to participate and who can and who has the ability to play.
Yeah, it's all about the strength and the strong mind. It's basically dominant games. Most likely, it's what they are. So, I got a few friends that were that are on the relay races. I got a few friends that go there every year. Sometimes they want to join me, but sometimes I'm busy with other stuff, doing other things. Anything else?
So you said they used bare bones, right? Bare bones, buffalo bones.
Or
and was that for the stick games and the buffalo
hand
hide
games.
dropping the
hand
sticks
games.
and stuff?
Yeah, hand games.
Okay. That's interesting. That's kind of cool how they designed it to their families and stuff like that. I didn't know that part.
Well, that's how they used to keep themselves occupied to pass the time. So even in winter times, because winter times are mostly the games, the game time in autumn.
I have a quick question. So you mentioned about the sticks. I've heard that some like indigenous people of the United States living in the United States, they decorate the sticks sometimes or stones.
Yeah.
Do you do those things? And who has to do that? I mean, it's I've heard again in some communities, women have to do decorate, but in some communities, children do that. So could you please talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, they do decorate it on how they want them to look. It's like fancying up your own style, and what your own style you make, you can create your own designs on the sticks. Some of them they do beadwork. Nowadays they do their own beadworks.
And some are painted, right?
Yeah, some are painted, some are beaded, some are of our branded burn marks. That's their family trade kind of thing, or whatever the winner, if they defeat all of the opponents, then he can make his own designs and they recognize him the next year and the next year after. That's how they recognize each other's games and designs. Hold on, let me turn on the light. It's getting dark here.
Okay.
Okay, I close the curtains. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of designs, how they make their champion designs, they call it. I call it that.
Have you ever participated in any of the Indian relay races recently?
Not recently, but like I said, when we were young, we used to play our own.
Yeah.
That's when my little brother traveled around, and that's how he got into the game, is going into the relay races. So he couldn't play no more because he wasn't strong enough, and he got hurt. So he can't participate in the games now.
Mm-hmm.
Because people break bones, get scars from it. It's an extreme game, I guess.
Yeah, I think I seen a video of one posted and they're jumping on a bareback horse and they're like clinging onto the horse's neck and their legs are wrapped around and they have to get it running fast so they don't fall off, right?
Yeah.
And then I seen them jump off one and then hop onto another one right away. So then they go again and then yeah.
It's all about the timing. And if you get the timing right, that's when you beat your next opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 2 would race, sometimes 3, 4, depending on how much people participate and how much money they put in.
How many laps would they have to do? Do you know how many laps they do now since it's around the racetrack now?
Sometimes they go around 5 times. When they have good horses, they can go longer.
Mm-hmm.
Longer days, longer rounds, depending on, because everywhere is different how they play these relay races.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
So
it can be like 20 times even if they have enough horses and enough players.
And they have to keep their horses in good shape. It's mainly the horses, and the rider has to be in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to have the intelligent mind, the fast mind, and to know what to do. Because if they fail on one, some of them get hurt severely. Some of them get run over there by their own horses. Because too, what they don't do too is they don't honor the horse. They don't you have to have respect the spirit of that horse in order for the horse to help you how to win these games spiritually. Because if you just go ahead and do it, then the horse won't agree with you, and then you end up getting hurt. A lot have done that over the years. It's about respecting the horse, and the horse to understand where you coming from, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to gain.
Do they paint their horses?
Yeah, they paint their horses as their own marks in the way, so they can be recognized of who they are in the next year.
Yeah.
Each one, they have their own designs. Even some of them, they wear the war bonnet, the warrior war bonnet. Some of them, when they win that, they can get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that was played out back in maybe in the 1800s in Dakota area.
Mm-hmm. And then for the stick games, when they would win these sticks, do they get to keep the sticks or do they return the sticks back to their opponents?
Sometimes they take the sticks as their own and they recreate the sticks into their ways. Or sometimes they give it back because they know their opponent lost. It's in with respect they give them back.
Mm-hmm.
Depending, because many don't play fair to give them back. You know, some just like, oh, this is mine now. So the person that loses, they have to create their different for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like win or lose constantly every year.
Yeah.
It's a fun game too once you really get deeper into it. And that's when the real the medicine they use the medicine to try to win and to protect themselves as well. It's dangerous at the same time. People do get hurt on the real competition hand games. Like I've heard stories from my friends, what they went through. Some of them recover, but they continue playing. Some of them they watch and they know the different opponents, how they play. They know each other very well.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, anybody can play the hand games. Doesn't matter race or gender, because a lot of things have changed over, say, 2 centuries, and it's a lot different now as it was back then.
Is there a certain age that you can start playing, or can like kids play, or is it just teenagers? Or
They start off with the little kids, and they do it at home. And when they go in, if they go into a tournament, the adults will show them how the others play, and the kids will pick up, and the young kids will play it. They did one here at the school a couple of years ago. They still play the hand games. They don't play the stick games no more because some of the elders know it, but they don't pursue it. A lot of the history didn't die out. We didn't lose everything. It's just put to rest for a while. It will come back, and people will remember them, and they'll start bringing them back. But this time a little different. Same with our language. We didn't lose it. We just put it in rest. It's in dormant. Everything is in dormant. Everything is coming back. Even to right now, things are slowly coming back. People are waking up.
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to think of more questions I can ask.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions?
No, I don't have a question. It was very interesting, and so we will use some, of course, not the entire, but some elements. We will use it for the textbook and relating to the probability. But that was really, really interesting. And Andre, do you have any question?
More questions, and I'm also very impressed. Yeah, so very interesting games. Yeah, we can model them as Markov chains.
Yeah,
It's
definitely we will use that.
exceptional.
And, yeah, I would like to thank you, sir, for the really interesting interview, and Jana, of course, just for doing all this great job. And you know, from time to time, I was sending her some questions that I wanted to, you know, understand, and she even extended my questions. I was sending her questions from this chat, and so that was very good. So thank you very much. It was really interesting. I will stop recording here. And, but before maybe I stop recording, sir, just because we will post this video on the website, and mostly our students and Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, they will have access to the video. What would you like to tell them? Maybe some guidance, or, you know, just assume that you are in front of the classroom. Do you have any message to them?
Well, I can say is never stop believing in your gift, because we're all unique in our own ways of the way our ancestors wanted us to be. Never give up. Sure, there might be a few bumps along the road, but you got to keep going on the path you take. Never shy away from your gift, because that's what makes you a strong person. It goes for all, because the Creator loves us all equally. Nobody's higher or lower. We're all equal in His eyes. Race, color, we're all equal in this world. We're all His children. We all have different gifts of Him.
Mhm.
Hi, hi. Thank you.
Hi, hi.
Thank you, sir. That's I really appreciate that, especially with the last message. That's very important for everyone. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Lance.